Okay, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to start off by kind of reviewing of where we left off last time because it has been about a week since we've taken notes. And then we're going to talk about the Pax Romana, which is like the golden age of Rome. We'll talk about who's in power and some of the contributions of this time. At some points today, I'm going to ask you to write certain things down or put stuff in specific orders. And you're going to show me this at the end of class for a grade. Okay, so take pretty solid notes today. So we're going to review with kind of where we left off in Rome. Okay, so we talked about Julius Caesar being assassinated by a group of senators. Okay, so he is out. And we had to put somebody in power after he dies. And it's going to be Julius Caesar's it's going to be Julius Caesar's nephew is going to become the new ruler. And his name is Octavian. Okay, so you need to know that name, Octavian, but now I'm going to teach you a couple of other names for him. You also need to recognize that Octavian Augustus, Caesar Augustus, and Octavian are all the same people. So now the Roman Republic has officially fallen, and now the Roman Empire is in place. So if you remember some of these events, try to put these in the correct order. So from the thing that happened first to the thing that happened last. Is it the assassination of Julius Caesar, the defeat of Mark Antony, the formation of the first triumvirate, or Augustus becomes emperor? You might have to look back in the last set of notes from Republic to Empire to kind of remember some of this. Okay, Caesar Augustus was the first emperor of Rome. So instead of having a democracy or a republic, now we have an emperor, one person who has all of the power. Now he ruled from 27 BC to 14 AD. How many years is that? Try to do the math. I'm going to ask you about this after class. Let's see if we can remember how to do this. Because some of you are going to say, oh, it's only 13 years. But pay attention. BC to AD. Let's try to do that math. Now, the leader of the Roman Empire was called the emperor. Okay, those words sound very much the same because they go together. And Octavian is going to start the Pax Romana. If you don't already have this written down, please write this down. It means peace in Rome. Time of peace and prosperity. Now, what time does this remind you about in ancient Greece? Now, during the Pax Romana, they're not fighting with anybody, and the empire is going to expand to Gaul, Germany, and England. So if you can picture your map in your heads, if we go to Rome and we go north, that's Gaul. If we go even further north and over to the east a little bit, that is Germany. And if we go even further north, that's England. Okay, so what I was talking about is this is Rome. Okay, Gaul is going to be in this area. Germany is going to be in this area. England's going to be in this area. But you can see it expands from almost all of Europe to parts of northern Africa, Egypt, Jerusalem, Judea, where Mesopotamia was located, right in the Fertile Crescent, Asia Minor, Greece. All of these places are all under Roman rule. So like I said, the empire expands, it gets larger. It goes to Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. You need to know the Pax Romana. Okay, Augustus means the exalted one or the first citizen. It was a very high title. He was the man. And during the Pax Romana, the Roman Empire was the largest and most powerful empire in the world. They were untouchable for 200 years. And during this time, because they are the extreme power, they're going to build many things, okay? And they're going to borrow ideas about architecture from the Greeks. So we're going to need to be experts at this because some buildings are going to be looking Greek, but they're actually going to be Roman. And when we come together after lunch, I'm going to tell you all the differences of these places. They build many public buildings, bridges, and aqueducts. Now think about what aqueduct sounds like. What do you think is the purpose of an aqueduct? So let's do 5 important things that the Romans built. So what I want you to do is maybe on the back of your notes, put 1, and then you're going to write the contribution and a little sentence about what it is to help you remember. So the first thing are aqueducts, and they build these aqueducts and they bring water into the cities. They also use some aqueducts as bridges. So let me explain what we're looking at here. The aqueduct is actually at the top, and water would run from mountains into the cities. And there's no pumps or generators or anything moving this water. It is gravity. They were built at a slight decline to bring the water from the mountains to the cities. Now you can see here, these are people, right? That could be used as a bridge down here, but the water needed to be high up. And we're going to talk about this design right here, but I want to do it when we're all together. Okay, so for right now, just write this down that the first thing are aqueducts, and aqueducts brought water into the cities. The next thing are bathhouses. They built big public bathhouses. If you remember our little field trip that we went on, we visited a bathhouse because they care about public health. The Pantheon. You have to remember the Pantheon, okay? The Pantheon was built for all of the Roman gods. And this shape right here, this is a dome shape. Dome rhymes with Rome. That's how you know that this is Roman. So if you look at this building, it looks very Greek, right? Because of the columns and the pitched roof and the boss in the middle here. But the Greeks did not have domes. So if you see a building that has a dome on it, it is Roman. Rome, dome. What was the name of the temple built to the goddess Athena in Athens? Does anyone remember? The Parthenon, because only part of it. When we get back from lunch, I'm going to teach you a way to remember, okay, what is Parthenon and what is Pantheon? They built sports arenas. You have to be able to identify this one as the Colosseum. The Colosseum was huge. It could seat 50,000 people. That's like a modern professional soccer stadium or a football stadium or a baseball stadium. That's what it looks like today. And it's amazing that it's still standing. And when we come together in person, I'm going to tell you all about this building. The Romans liked violent entertainment. They would often watch people fight or kill each other. Sometimes animals would fight each other. Sometimes animals would fight humans. And sometimes they would hunt the animals, and you would pay money and go watch that happen. Sometimes they changed the grounds to make it a little bit more realistic. Sometimes criminals would be thrown into the arena to be killed by wild animals. Christians would eventually be fed to hungry lions and burned alive for the Romans' entertainment. And the people that were doing this are gladiators, right? The main people are the gladiators. They usually were slaves or prisoners, but sometimes people would volunteer to become a gladiator, okay? You didn't want to be a gladiator at this time, okay? It looks really cool, but I mean, every day he's fighting for his life, literally. Not a great job. They also did chariot racing, so being pulled by horses. It was very, very dangerous, but very entertaining to watch. And even sometimes the Colosseum was filled with water, and they would watch sea battles. This was amazing that they were doing this 2,000 years ago. The last thing that they contributed was a huge system of roads. And I'm going to talk to you about how these roads were made, but you can find Roman roads right down here in 2018 all over Europe, because that's where they ran to. They connected every corner of the empire, tens of thousands of miles of roads. So just like the roads, you can also find aqueducts in various places as well, because again, Spain used to be part of the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago. Here's one in Egypt, one in Israel, one in Persia. Some roads were used for more than 1,000 years. Okay, now think about our roads. Do they last that long? No, they might last for a season before you're getting holes and potholes in there. Those roads are very, very solid that you're seeing there. So all of these lines that you're seeing on this map of the Roman Empire, those are all of the main roads. They look like veins that are kind of keeping the empire alive. Now, why were the roads so important during the Pax Romana? Well, it helps with the economy. It helps with trading. Agriculture, farming is a very important part of their economy, and you needed to be able to transport your goods. During the Pax Romana, feeding the empire was the #1 priority. Money. The whole empire used the same silver coins. We call that uniform currency. So think about it. When you go play a soccer match, everyone is in the same uniform. They look the same. Currency, this word here, is a fancy word for money. They also create a civil service system. Okay, we use civil services today. We're going to talk about this when we come together. Maybe the most important thing is that power transferred from one emperor to the next peacefully. People did not fight. They were either an heir, or like the son of an emperor, and they came into power, or they were kind of adopted into power. But that's one of the biggest things here in the United States, is that there is a peaceful transfer of power. You may not always like who is in power, but it's always been peaceful. People aren't fighting each other for power. Okay, so these are the 4 reasons why the Roman Empire was so strong during the Pax Romana. Please write all 4 of these down on the back of your notes. Pause this video, write them down. And we'll talk about this stuff in detail when we get back from lunch.